Buona domenica. Happy Sunday, everyone. This is Esther.
Live from Sicily and Massachusetts today.
Oh boy, do we have a lot to talk to you about. Of course, one of our favorite topics, top 10 foods to eat in Sicily. But yes, I'm in Boston for the week because my mom turned 80 years young. Beautiful
God
celebration
bless
with
her.
her and my sisters and my niece and good friends. So it's been a pleasure. It was a quick in and out for me. I'll be back in Sicily next week for our show next week. But Al, let's get right down to business and then we'll take people's questions and do some shout outs. So,
Sure,
okay.
absolutely.
All right. Listen, I got to tell you, I've been here a week and okay, I had Thai food, Chinese food, all the stuff that I missed back in Sicily. But boy, am I looking forward to getting some of that fresh produce, the fruits and vegetable, the seasonal fruits and vegetable that are so good in the winter and actually any time of the year. So one of the things that you must try when visiting Sicily is the fresh fruits and vegetables.
You know, Esther, since you've been gone, it's been like 6 long days where I've been kind of staring at the door waiting for your entry. I've opened up 6 cans. Can of corn, a can of peas. But but you're right. You're right. And by the way, before you do anything else about the fruits and vegetables, is there any way that you could bring me back an order of fried rice and spare ribs from a Chinese restaurant? Can you
You
just
got it. It's
put it in your
already in my
suitcase?
luggage. Already in my luggage.
Ah, so some of the things you miss here are Chinese food, good Chinese food, in my view.
All right, come on.
Okay,
Some of your top
all right.
foods.
Listen, you talked about fruits and vegetables, and I have to tell you that this week, when I went down to our favorite bar, Raitana, I tried their spremuto di orange, the
Ooh,
orange juice, freshly squeezed. They had the blood red oranges. Right now is the harvest going on for the blood red oranges, which, by the way, are spectacular. You cut them, if you cut an orange in half, it's dark red on the inside.
ooh,
And for $1.50, I had an 8 ounce glass of orange juice that just knocked me out. EU, it was just unbelievable.
and this is the time for that, right? The blood oranges, and pretty soon they'll be gone.
You know, the other thing I was thinking about you when I went to Eurospin the other day to buy my bag of lettuce, comma, they had a mountain, literal mountain of blueberries. So I
That's
bought
good.
one to mix with my yogurt in the morning, and they were absolutely delicious. They're Italian blueberries. They were terrific.
Sounds
Not
good. All right.
Sicilian blueberries, Italian blueberries.
All right. So my number two food that you must have when visiting Sicily any time of the year really is a granita. It's so unusual. It's such an unusual sweet. Here you may call it an Italian ice or a slush or something like that, but it's nothing like that. I try to explain to people. It almost has like an ice cream consistency over in the Catania side, not in the Palermo side. Wink, wink. But what it is, it's an icy dessert, and there's the pistachio, the almond, the lemon, the strawberry, the peach, the mulberry, some places it's very seasonal. Of course, when you go to Bam Bar in Taormina, which is a must go to when in Taormina, the Bam Bar. Right now, they have blood oranges. When figs are in season, they have the fig one. They always have the raspberry, the lemon, and so forth. And what's interesting about the Granita is, there's always some historical background to everything. It was the Arabs when they were here in Sicily, there in Sicily. They shaved ice off of Mount Etna, brought it down in little baskets. They kept it cold in the caves, and when they cut down from the mountain, they added the local flavor. So it always something local. And they started, of course, with the lemon. Lemon was always a very typical granita, and you have to have it with a brioche. So that's my number two must-have when in Sicily. What about you, Al?
Well, you know, Esther, I agree with you that the granita differs in taste and consistency throughout the island. There's no question. And I do agree with you when you said that the East Coast, specifically the province of Catania in my view, is vastly superior to all the others. Some of the ones on the West Coast, they're very runny. It's almost like you're going getting a Slurpee at the 7-Eleven. That's what the taste is, okay? But you hit it right on the head though. First timers, when they come, no matter what flavor they get, they ought to get it with a sweet roll called a brioche, and make yourself a little kind of like a sandwich where you dip in the brioche into the granita and you eat it, especially for breakfast. Now, I could recommend for breakfast that what the Catanese have for breakfast is 50% almond and 50% coffee. I think
Or
that's a
pistachio.
great, pardon me?
Or pistachio.
Well, you like pistachio, but usually they get the cafe e mandola. But Esther, of course, gets pistachio everything. We even have now, by the way, pistachio toothpaste. I'm kidding.
All right. What's your number? Name one of your top foods that you must have.
Okay, I'd say that it's really not a specific food, but it's a group of foods, and everybody knows about them, and it's called the pastas. I think the pastas plural, uh, is more widespread in terms of variety than there are in the States. I think there's something like 78 or 80 different cuts of pasta. And sometimes when you go in the supermarket, they're all on display there. Okay. Now I'm talking about the dried pasta, the ones that you get in the supermarket. So I think that, and you know, I have a discussion with Esther about this all the time, but it has to do with what are you going to pair with that pasta that's going to decide for you what the specific cut is. Okay, so she says to me all the time, or at least she used to say to me, why are you buying more pasta? We already have 5 pounds in the house. Well, we may have 5 pounds in the house, but it really, the cut that I wanted to make, whether it's a linguine or you know, something, maybe I didn't have, and I like to pair them up. I think that's the most important thing. So all your pastas now,
The fun
unfortunately,
thing,
it
the fun thing
what?
too, Al, is when you go and you get the different cuts, you can get all types of things. You know, a lot of people often ask us, "Oh, I'm vegetarian. Can I, you know, is there something for me in Sicily?" And the answer is, of course, yes, because they do the pasta. Wait, I think the birthday girl, can you come and say hello to our friends?
Hi,
Clara.
everyone.
Ah,
Look over here.
I'm sorry. Yes.
She doesn't look a day over what? What do you guys think? The woman just turned 80. Look at this beautiful.
Thank
Did
you.
did we
Love
have
you.
fun? Did we
Hi,
have fun?
Alfred. Hi, everyone. Yes.
hi guys, hi
Lots of fun.
birthday girl.
We've been potting for 3 days. Potting.
You should be partying. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye,
Love you,
sweetheart. Love
everybody.
you.
Bye.
Let me just say this too about the
Wait, let me finish.
pastas.
Wait, let me finish real quick about because the pastas there, you could have it with the zucchini, you can have it with all types of greens. You like the broccoli, the pasta with the broccoli.
Yeah,
You can
that's
have
my
it with
favorite is pasta
seafood.
with the broccoli.
You can have it with seafood. You can have it ragu with the meat. So it's a very versatile dish. And you know, you can have the simple pasta aglio olio.
Which
Pasta
I have
aglio
all the
olio.
time, which I have all the time. But when you go to a supermarket, they'll have an entire aisle, both sides packed with dry pasta. But if you look in the refrigerated section, they'll have uh, an enormous assortment of freshly made pastas, which don't take 8 minutes to 10 minutes to cook. And whoop,
Oops.
sorry about that. And what I was going to say is the secret for cooking pasta is no matter what type of pasta you're going to cook. I think I lost you here.
No, you're there.
Okay. The secret with the pasta, no matter what you're going to cook, is to bring that water to I say it, an angry boil. You bring it to an angry boil, and then you put your pasta in. You don't put the pasta in cold water and boil it like that. It'll taste like paste if you do that. And lots of people don't do that. So
And
pasta is an art form.
the other big thing that you taught me, Alfred, is that once the pasta is done, you take a little half cupful of the pasta water, put it aside, strain the pasta, put whatever sauce, and add that pasta water. And let me tell you, it makes a huge difference. Huge difference.
Well, the pasta is not supposed to be fully cooked when you do that. It should be done al dente, which means to the teeth. It's like kind of like rare. I guess you could say it's rare. And then you put it in the water. You put the water in and you stir it for a good 3 or 4 minutes until the water is dissipated. And what happens is the sauce gets kind of like sucked up into the pasta. It's delicious. So all your pastas as a group, there's a million different types you could try, but
Listen, here you get advice on what to see, what to eat in Sicily, even how to cook Sicilian
well,
stuff.
hey,
Al,
I mean,
I gotta read this, okay? And we'll
I
go
have to
back.
fix my phone here, buddy. Go ahead, you
We
talk in the meantime.
we are gonna go back to our top foods to eat in Sicily, and some of them may surprise you in just a second. But first, our friend Silvio from Acitrezza asked the question: do you guys know why the oranges, the blood oranges, are red in color? And I do not, but Silvio, it's full of knowledge of tidbits, and he's going to say that he said that why the blood orange has got that color, it grows in land of Lentini and nearby. They're in night temperature fall down a lot, even 0 degrees, whereas morning even 20 degrees, and that's the reason for the color. So it appears that
Cold weather.
The weather.
Cold, yeah, the cold. Thank you, Silvio.
Okay, I'm just going to answer a couple more questions. Vince wants to know, did you watch Sanremo 2023 festival? And do you and Alfred know any of the singers? I know of the singers. I did not watch it. I didn't.
First of all, we don't have a television. We don't have a TV in our house.
I did see the headlines every morning on the papers, but not something I follow.
Could I say one more thing? Let me just make that a little bit louder. We do not have a TV. We haven't had a TV in this house. Well, I haven't had a TV in this house for over 10 years. And it has enriched my life. Yes. Because nowadays, when you go on the TV, at least in the States it was like that, there's nothing but bad news. So I decided I'm not going to do that anymore. We gave our TV away to the fellow downstairs whose TV had broken, and that's it. When we do want to watch something, we watch Netflix on some of the movies there. Right now, I'm addicted to Harry Potter, by the way. I love Harry Potter. And also, I have my NFL Game Pass for my football games. So instead of me spending $200 a month on Comcast or Verizon back in the States for cable, our bill is about $30 a month for our internet and our Netflix. Cheap. Okay, so that's how I feel about it. And then you could also always watch the highlights of whatever it is on YouTube the next day. I mean, basically, that's what Esther and I do. Okay,
my cousins in Sicily rarely eat meat since fish is so plentiful. Various pasta dishes are usually dairy occurrence. Of course, in every household, it is a dairy occurrence, and usually they make it with the salsa. And I'm not talking about a Mexican salsa. Salsa is what they call the red sauce.
Yeah. Esther, one thing you ought to tell
gravy, as some of you may want to call it. But what they do in Sicily is they take the fresh tomatoes and make a fresh sauce. It's almost a daily occurrence.
Esther, for your first time visitors to Sicily, you'll have to look far and wide to find pasta with meatballs. All right. Maybe some of the tourist places have them, but typically there is no such thing as pasta and meatballs on the menu. You won't find that. You'll find another variety of deliciousness in the in the restaurants, and you're going to be amazed, really amazed, on how much different pastas and whatever it is you're going to put on them taste than in the United States, Canada, England, or Australia, in my opinion.
Everything. All right, let's go back to our top foods. I want to
Yep.
say hello to our viewers on YouTube, and we're streaming also on Facebook. So thank you for watching. If you're new here, we go on every single Sunday at 4 p.m. Sicily time. So thank you for tuning in. And we also publish several other videos on our channel. So one of the top foods that I think you must have while in Sicily, and I know this is a difficult one for some people who do not like fish, but I strongly suggest that you try some type of fish. Now, you may say you don't like fish, but the variety of fish here is so wide that there must be something for everyone, unless of course you're allergic, because you have your mussels, your shrimp, and your clams and stuff like that, your sea urchins, but you also have more of a white fish like sea bass and sea bream for those of you who like a little bit of flaky. My last meal in Sicily last week was of course a sea bream, which is my favorite, which is a whole fish. And I just bake it, and literally it tastes like butter. And then you have the swordfish, which, then swordfish, very different than the way it's served in the United States, the salmon and so forth. So a little bit of fish because it is so prevalent everywhere. Now, Nick mentioned that a lot of people don't even eat meat because fish is so prevalent. Up in the mountains, that's the place to eat meat. In the Etna Paese, in the little Etna towns, that's where meat is very good, the lamb and so forth. Up in the Madonia and the Brody Mountains, you
The
go
pork.
up to those
Yeah.
little towns, and the meat there is just a different experience. You don't want to eat fish up there, but you do want to try the meat. So I say, if you're up in the mountain towns, try the meat. If you're down on the shores, and actually there's only one province that's not surrounded by the sea, try a little bit of fish, even if it's just a bite.
Esther, what I was going to say about fish is that don't be afraid to try some of the area delights. On the West Coast, for example, pasta with sardines. That's like, people eat the pasta with sade, and they go to heaven. On
And
the
with the fennel.
East Coast, and the fennel too. And on the East Coast, you have the pasta with the cuttlefish, pasta con sepia, nero di sepia, which for me is my favorite. But try the pasta with the swordfish, the rolled swordfish. It's just, or tuna. There's a million different ways that you could have fish with that. And by the way, many restaurants now offer gluten-free pastas as
I'm
well.
glad you mentioned that.
Thank you. Okay,
And we
next
have
one.
Stephanie saying about the organic. And in fact, Stephanie and all of you who are gluten-free, there's an entire section in the supermarket now as you walk in that's gluten-free. So definitely something for everyone. I keep saying that in Sicily. All right. The next thing that I'm going to mention is something with eggplant. Try something with eggplant because eggplant is such a popular dish in Sicily, and it's eaten in so many ways. For example, you can have the eggplant breaded. You can have it fried. You can have it in my favorite dish, the caponata, which is the prevalent item in it.
Yum.
Caponata with several other ingredients, but the main ingredient is the eggplant. You can have a pasta alla norma. How many of you guys know about the pasta alla norma? Hello, it's the national food of Sicily, the pasta with the eggplant and the ricotta salata, which is my favorite cheese, ricotta salata. How else can you eat eggplant, Alfred? There's even the pizza alla
There's
norma.
nothing like a good panino with prosciutto cotto and some eggplant, some either fried or baked eggplant in it with some olive oil. Like I said, the combination of the different tasting bread and the different tasting olive oil that you put on the bread, and also the eggplant, It's a complete, or on a cheese if you want to put it on. It gives you a completely different experience of eating even a simple sandwich. I'm telling you, it's just amazing how you want to do that. And don't again. The last thing I want to say is a suggestion is when you come to Sicily for the first time or the second time, don't just have one thing. Experiment a bit. Okay, I mean, because there's a million different types of foods to eat here. So why have the same thing every day? Some people do that. I remember one time we had a traveler, and all her daughter wanted was macaroni and cheese, which was an impossibility in Sicily. So there is no macaroni and cheese per se like there is in the United States. So be a little bit on the wild side when you when you're having
Now,
your
here's
fare. Great.
another suggestion when coming to Sicily that you cannot miss. Wherever you are, with Catania, Palermo, or Siracusa, you're walking around, or Tigia, you have to try the street food. Of course, the most
Street
popular
food.
street food is arancini. There's also the Pinelli, which is more prevalent on the Palermo side. You walk through the market and there's all types of fish, fried fish that you can eat. You can have the sfincione, which is the pizza on the Palermo side. You can have a number of different street foods. So, meaning standing up and eating foods. And those are very typical here in Sicily and well worth you trying, even if it's just a bite. And I urge people to have that experience. I often say that the foods of Sicily are not the foods of Italy. They are far different. And even from region to region, they have different specialties. So, think outside of the box and try those foods. But I say, when coming to Sicily, do not miss the street foods. And
Well,
Alfred,
wait a minute.
wait, I forgot to mention the crispelli.
Well, wait a minute. Wait a minute. There are certain street foods stay away from. Okay. Now, first of all, the arancina in the West Coast, that's good. It's the same as the arancino on the East Coast. They just have a big cultural pronunciation difference. But they have the boiled spleen sandwich on the West Coast that, unless you have a cast iron stomach, I would say take a pass on that one, unless you're very adventurous. And on the East Coast, I would say, unless, again, you're very adventurous, stay away from horse meat sandwiches. All right. So
Wait a
they
second.
have very ethnic type of stuff over there. You just want to kind of,
You
as
gotta,
I said, pick your shots.
but Al, you got to eat like the local. You want to just try it so you can say
No,
you
no, I
tried it.
don't. No,
Oh,
no, I
okay,
don't.
okay.
No, I
Hey,
don't.
Dr. Rosemary wants to know if we have carduna in Sicily. Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
What is a carduna?
It's if I'm getting it right, Dr. Rosemary, it's related to the artichoke family. Carduna.
Artichokes, stuffed artichokes. We've even forgot about stuffed artichokes. They're
Even though,
wonderful. Hey, speaking about Dr. Rosemary, can I make a quick announcement before we do another one?
yeah,
Okay. Dr. Rosemary, our gal Martha from Enna, who is going to be doing our Sicilian project class, thanks to our director, Professor William Marino, who just has spent a whole lifetime teaching English in Rome to students, our Martha received her TOEFL Hero certification yesterday. She is one of
brava.
three native speakers right now who are in training to get their certification. Now, do you remember the parable about what Jesus said or somebody said? He says, if you teach them how to fish, they'll never go hungry. Our job at the Sicilian Project, besides turning on kids to the joys of the English language, is leaving behind competent instructors in Sicily, from Sicily, to continue it. So I want to thank Dr. Bill Marino, Professor Bill Marino, and congratulate Marta. And now Stefania is almost through her program. And then, of course, we have Maria Pache. So we're
Very
kind of doing
exciting.
it double barrel this year, Esther, and I'm really proud of that.
Me too. Me too.
Yeah, you should
This
be
is
because
the
you've worked very
SicilianProject.com.
hard on this project too,
It's well
obviously.
worth it. It's well worth it. Sicily has given so much to me. It's the least I can do to give back to Sicily. So that's our
Thank
nonprofit.
you.
Very proud of
Okay.
it. Okay. That's so,
www.thesicilianproject.com.
and I'll put that in the show notes as well. And
Bravo.
by the way, thank you, because I know a lot of you watching have donated to our Sicilian project. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Hey, Al, I'm drinking from a different mug that I think you've seen. It's from my alma mater, UMass Amherst.
Don't you mean Zoomass?
Zoomass. That's where I got my
Zoomass.
graduate. Hey, Northeastern is where I got my graduate. I have one of those mugs too. Maybe I'll bring
You're a
that home.
husky. Are you going to bring him back here?
Maybe, maybe. No, I like my mugs in Sicily with the Testa de Mori.
Ah, okay. All right.
All right. Silvio says that every Sicilian province has its own specialty. For example, the best is Shaka Ragusana, Ragusa delicious. I love Silvio. He is, by the way, we need to do
That guy's a wealth of knowledge.
a wealth of knowledge about the best places for arancini. Hey, Paul
And
wants
he has a
to
great B&B too, by the way.
in Acitrezza.
Mhm.
He wants to understand the Pinelli. So the Pinelli is made out of chickpea flour.
Flour.
Yeah,
Yeah, right.
deep fried, and it's made to a square, Paul, and you can eat it just like that. You know, it's crunchy. They have it. Some restaurants have it as an appetizer, or what they do in Palermo is they put it into a bun, and so you have a Pinelli sandwich, which is very popular. Which is a
It's
carb.
basically a carbohydrate sandwich. It's carbs. It's a carb sandwich, but they taste like the potatoes, the home fries, the ones that you buy and when you're having breakfast in the States. That's what it tastes like. They're very tasty. It's very good.
Joe says, hi, Esther and Alfred, you guys rock. Love you guys from Toronto, Ontario. Question, they're talking about a bridge again from Sicily and the mainland that would be good or bad. They've been talking about that since the Roman times. They have.
Can I tell you what I feel about that?
Since the Roman times.
If you talk to about 50% or 60% of the Sicilians, they think it's a good idea. I don't think it's a good idea. I think that Sicily will lose its cultural identity by having that bridge, number one. Number two is that personally, I wouldn't cross that bridge in fear of the corruption that goes on in the construction industry. Recently, we've been horrified by what we've heard about in Turkey, where all that cheap construction fell in the earthquake because the mixture of concrete to sand was ridiculously ridiculous. It was mostly sand. That happens in Sicily a lot. Okay. As a matter of fact, the big hospital in Catania, they had to basically tear it down and rebuild it years ago because the construction company it wouldn't have been able to survive an earthquake. Myself, I think I want to keep our cultural identity the way it is. So I'm not that crazy about it. Will it increase tourism? Probably. But if that means it's going to increase the prices of stuff here for the people who are living here, that's number one. And I just don't think it's a good idea myself.
Okay. A couple of things on that. So I don't want to go too much into it.
That's all I'm saying.
A topic that has been talked about, beaten to
Yeah.
death. But there are some grave environmental concerns for building the bridge. The straits, that's a very dangerous and strait to build over. Environmentally, when you build something like that and you're messing with Mother Nature, it is never a good idea. You know, there is a ferry that goes over. A lot of people who work over on the other side on the mainland, they want it because of easier access. So, there's pros and cons, but both Alfred and I, interestingly, agree on this topic that it's
No,
not
we,
a
we,
good
we agree on a lot of things. I mean, honestly, if you stop and think about it, you always listen to me. So, Esther,
thing.
before you go on to the
I,
next one,
yeah,
there's a big rumor about you going on. I have to see. I want to confirm it today.
that's right. Wait a sec.
Excuse me.
If you're watching
Are you
this
putting together a
on
trip
the
to
wait, wait,
Tuscany?
wait, wait. If you're watching this on the live on a Sunday, you are the first one to know that I'm doing a tour of Tuscany in September. It's going to be
There we
around
go.
17th to around the 27th. The program is 98% done. We have a partner up there, a beautiful place to visit. And like all of our tours that Alfred and I do, it's off the beaten path places. There's going to be wellness, of course, plenty of local foods and wines. We're going to be staying in a villa, very limited because there's only 7 rooms in this villa, a husband and wife outfit, and they have their own farm. So everything is going to be organic. We'll have meals cooked by our hosts, a couple of vineyard visits, a lot of beautiful towns, not touristy. So if you're interested, email me. That's all the information I have. So September, mid to late September. The exact dates are around the 17th to the 27th. So we're very, very excited about that.
At some point in time, Esther, will you put that on the website, or is this going to be a private thing where they have to email you?
It's going to be a private thing because I have a feeling it's going to fill up.
Sell
So
out, huh?
they'll have to fill up. Most people
Okay.
are agreeing with us about the bridge. Jim
Ah,
Ingram, a bridge from a former mafia stronghold to a Calabrian mafia controlled stronghold. No, thank you. Very well put. All right. So Al, let's
good.
move on.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yumi and no, we're going to keep it Yumi and Sicily, but it's going to be our little
On the
side
road.
on
You
the
mean
road.
on the
Yumi and
road to
Sicily.
Tuscany.
Okay. My email, where do we email it? I'm going to put that in the chat right now. It's also on our YouTube and also on our Facebook. Okay.
Esther and Vita
I'm
at
writing it
gmail.com,
now.
right? All right, so
Okay.
she's putting it up right now.
putting
This
up
will sell
right
out in 1 week, Esther.
I think so.
I'm telling you right
Uh,
now, it'll sell out in a
So
week.
let's continue with some of
Okay.
our must-have when going to Sicily. And I'm going to say one of the must-haves when going to Sicily is the different types of cheeses. Like
Jesus.
the province of Ragusa, I'm thinking specifically the Caciocavallo, which is very good. Some of the cheeses are very different. In fact, on the episode we did on Ragusa itself, that area is very rich with different types of cheeses. And I was filming the woman who came out and explained the different flavors and, really, really creative types of flavors. Of course, by us, the cheese with the pistachio is very good, with the black pepper, just different types of cheeses. If you like cheeses of Sicily are delicious.
Is that the only cheese, Bunsta? What about the ricotta?
The
At
ricotta
the
salata, I already
farms. At the
said.
farms.
Oh,
Oh
the
my
fresh.
God.
How could I?
Right? There's a million cheeses, and one of the joys of going to the supermarkets, really, is that the supermarket offerings on the East Coast, West Coast, North and South are profoundly different from one another. Now, I
Yeah.
want to give you a cautionary, a little bit of advice. Unfortunately, the United States agricultural, whatever it's called over there, will not allow cheeses to come in to the United States when you're returning home. The only cheeses that you can bring into the United States, unfortunately, are those in the duty-free places that are stamped okay from the U.S. Department of Agriculture, or you're risking getting a fine if it's caught. So you could either
Good
eat it
advice,
like
attorney.
hell here. What?
Good advice, attorney.
Thank you. I mean, I
Listen,
just
you
think you
mentioned
have
the
to think of a.
ricotta. You mentioned the ricotta. Thank you so much, because that is one of our travelers' favorite experiences when with us on the West Coast is going to that ricotta farm and tasting the fresh ricotta. You know, we see how the ricotta is made and then sit down with a fresh piece of bread, with a
Excuse me.
bowl of warm, piping hot ricotta and a glass of red wine. You'll never
Be
be
careful when you
you'll
buy
never be the
Parmesan
same.
cheese too. Parmesan cheese, it has to be from Parma. Okay, that's why it's called Parmesan cheese. Now, when you buy Parmesan cheese by the chunk, it's aged differently from 6 months, which is junk, 12 months, it's almost junk, 18 months, now it's starting to be okay, 24 months is a lot better. And then if you could find a real good one, it's even more than that, 36 months. If you got to buy cheese to eat, like in your room or whatever, splurge. It's not that much money, and get the cheese that's either the 20. If you could find the 24-month aged, is great. Okay. Also, if you have to, as a settlement, 18-month, but don't buy on price. Those cheeses on price. Just my
Uh,
opinion.
Paul says, I'm already just looking forward to Sicilian fruits, the apples, oranges, and lemons. Paul, the apples and oranges are mostly in season right now. By
And in
about spring,
October,
in October, by about spring, the only real there's two types of apples that they bring from up north or other country. Granny Smith and the Pink Lady apple is always available, but right now the Etna apples are
yep,
very
are
much in deal.
delicious.
So let me move on to another something that you must try. You guys are going to laugh. You guys are going to laugh. But try the local wine. I know it sounds like a no-brainer, but a lot of people come here and they say, "Oh, I want a Chardonnay, I want a Pinot Grigio." No, 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 no. You've got to try the Sicilian wine,
You
the
mean I
Insogna.
shouldn't buy Ripple wine here? Is that what you're telling me? No Ripple wine?
No, no, no.
No?
Okay,
No
not
Boone's
just
Farm apple wine here?
no, no,
No?
no, no,
How about Matus? No? Although they
no.
do
You know
sell
what the
Matus in the
best thing
market.
to do? Forget about buying wine at the supermarket. Go to a mom and pop shop where they have it, fill the 2-liter bottles. Get the Vino Locale. They have the Etna White, the Etna Rosso, the Nero de Avola, all those wines. And of course, we did an entire episode featuring some of the Etna wines. We love going. And also in Menfi, Barbera. We did Barbera. And our friend Chow Daniel carries a lot of those wines in his Wines from Italy.com. And I think he still has a promotion going that if you buy $200 worth of wine, you get free shipping. I believe that promotion is still going. It was going on during Christmas. So
What about the cordials and the grappa?
go for it, Al.
Hello?
Go for it, Al.
How about the Amadavana, the bitter, the herbal bitter. In each one of the provinces has their own. I like Amado Havana. That's the name of the company. But the grappas are good. Now, people don't know how to pick grappa out. Okay? Do not buy on price. Typically, the ones that are $8 a bottle, that's what got. Okay? You want to buy something a little bit around $20 US dollars. You can get a good one. There is the light color one. It looks like water in terms of being clear. That's made out of the Chardonnay grape, Delicioso. Or you can get get a reserve or a Grand Reserve for the other one. And by the way, if you put an ice cube in grappa,
Oh, Al.
that's a deportable offense. Believe me, you will be reported if you do that.
That's painful.
The Amadavana, you could Amadavana, limoncello, all the different types of liqueurs, pistachio. There's a million different mandarino. There's a million types. People usually serve those cold, but they keep them in the refrigerator to make them cold and not served with ice.
Jim
Esther,
Ingram.
what do you?
Jim Ingram.
What?
How could I have forgotten our favorite, Vino
Oh,
Alamandala. So let me talk to you about Vino Alamandala. That is a specialty of Sicily. Of course, every region has their own type, but the Vino Alamandala is one of my favorite, if not the favorite, after dinner drink with a little slice of orange in it. Very good.
for
Very
you
good.
guys that drink the whiskeys like I do, just so you know, whiskey is far cheaper here than it is in the United States. Things like Jameson's or any of the varieties of or Scotch whiskeys, because we're in the EU, there's no transport charge to the United States. It's typically a lot cheaper. Surprisingly, Italian men that I see when they have their cafe corretto, that's basically a coffee with a shot of liquor in it. The liquor of choice is Jack Daniels. Can you believe that? Jack Daniels is very popular in Sicily. So you can that's all over the place too. So
Our buddy Alfio says we would go to the mountains to private personal winemakers, bring our own empty large glass containers to fill it up. That's the best, isn't it?
definitely, definitely, definitely.
Okay, so Al, let's do a couple more of your favorite must-haves in Sicily. One of the things, if you're fortunate enough to be here in Sicily during a festivale, or some type of a holiday, there's always a typical food that is eaten during that period. So trying something during, the Festival of Sanagata, which we just had in Catania, the Minuzzi di Sanagata, which is the cassata shaped like a boob with a cherry on top, or the olivette, the olive of Sanagata. Those are foods that are always in Catania, but during the festival of Sanagata, they are very typical. Right now, we're having a carnevale. Oh, my mom, her
Wait
new
a minute.
favorite,
What are they called?
chiacchiare, chiacchiara.
Or in Sicilian, guandi.
Silvio, did
Esther,
I
I've
say
been
it
pigging
right?
out on those damn things.
They're so good. My mom, so every time I come home, I bring something. When I came home in November, of course, I bought a panettone because it was just time for Christmas. Um, so every time I bring something different for my mom, and she declared that the typical foods for Carnivale are her new all-time favorite Sicilian sweets. And we learned from our
The
friend
guandis?
the Guandis. She said,
Brava.
"Don't bring panettones anymore. Just bring these." I said, "Mom, they're only available during Carnival. They'll be gone when after Easter." So we learned from our dear friend Peter Messina that they're actually the recipe is the ones that they use for the cannoli shells. Wait a sec. Go ahead, Al. Talk. I'm going to bring a guandi here.
Listen, no matter what you eat for a pastry, it's going to heaven. I can still remember my dear friend Nancy Moranto, who came on one of our trips. Remember Nancy?
Yeah,
And
of course we
Esther
do.
introduced me to her, and within two sentences, she said, "Are we going to have cassata cake?" All she wanted was authentic Sicilian cassata cake, which, of course, I went out and we got a beautiful one for her. They were having dinner at our house. If you want to try something to go directly to heaven, the cannolo or the cassata cake or some of the other sweets that they have over here will be memorable, and you'll go home and you'll be really thinking about them. Okay, Esther, show her
Wait,
what you
look,
got.
this is the beautiful box that our friend Francesco and his son Eduardo. So she ate all the plain ones because plain ones are her favorite. But here's a pistachio one.
Very
Oh,
good. The
it is
pistachio
very
ones are,
crisp,
yes,
very crisp. Here's a chocolate one.
they're just delicious.
Here's a white chocolate one. Oh, you
Those are
guys,
great too. Yeah.
bite into this and you're in heaven. And then there's the hazelnut one. So anyway, she ate all the ones with the powdered sugar. Those are the traditional ones. So my advice when coming to Sicily, also different towns have different sweets. So, each one of those towns has their own specialty sweets. During festivals, they have sweets. So try that. You wouldn't think so, but the sweets and the desserts in Sicily are to die for. I remember we went with a family in December to one of the mountain towns in the Madonia Mountains, and there was the sweet. I've never seen it anywhere. Longi. We went to Longi with a beautiful family, and the sweet was like this big. It looked like a triple size donut, and one of the boys took a bite out of it, and it exploded with cream. And he's like, at the last day, I asked everyone, what's your favorite food experience? He said, I can't get that sweet out of my head. You can't find that sweet anywhere else except in the little town of Londra and probably some of the neighboring towns. But that is such a fun experience, going to little towns and tasting what the Zafferana Etnea. You love the cookies from there, Al. You can't get that in other towns.
Here's my last can't miss what you ought to do when you come to Sicily.
Eat.
Make sure you bring with you a pair of elastic band waist pants. Okay, don't have what they call TPS, tight pants syndrome coming here. So wear comfortable clothing, because that's why you're spending all this money coming here to eat. So, as my mother would say, Alfredo, mangia. So I would say to you, eat. When we go home, you can lose the weight, but wear comfortable clothes.
See, most people who come with us, they say they don't.
They lose weight. Yeah, they do, because you walk.
Because the food is very different, number one. Number two, we're moving around. And number three, which is number one, number two, and number three, the food is very different. And it's just, I eat bread there. I don't eat bread here. It's just,
what my Uncle Joe used to say? I said it last week. I'll say it again. When you come in here, everything in moderation. I think that's the whole key, is moderation. I never have seconds. The only thing I'll have seconds on is when Esther makes her famous soup, or I make my famous water soup. One of these days, I'll give you seriously, I'll give you my recipe for my water soup, but maybe soup. But there's no need to have 2 bowls of pasta. As a matter of fact, the average serving here is 125 to 130 grams of pasta, which is less than half the size in the United States. So you're not going to get ginormously humongous servings of pasta. And the same thing with the swordfish. Esther alluded to the swordfish. It's not thick. It's not like that. It's maybe a 1/4 of an inch thick, but I'm telling you, you savor the taste. The taste is just amazing. So
Silvio, thank you.
That's the key of coming here. Everything in moderation.
True, with everything in life, Al. Silvio, thank you for reminding us about the special pasta that's only available now, the Cinque Bucci, which is called, and I think I brought some home to Carolyn one year. Yes, we love the cassata.
Of course.
Thank you, Dolce. Okay, Al, any final?
I have one final thing to say. I want to wish a shout out to our good pal Jimmy Ingram, who's coming here soon. And I'm sure that Jimmy, as you and I were giving this little talk today, was familiar with everything, because we have taught him everything, basically. No, I want to say hi. And Jimmy, don't forget my Dunkin' coffee, will you please?
What are you talking about,
Dunkin'
Al? I'm
Donuts.
bringing the
What?
Dunkins. I already told
I
you
need
not to
more.
bring it.
I need more.
Al,
Always.
Listen.
You gonna bring me some coffee?
I'm gonna bring you the Dunkins, and you have only a couple more days to give me your list of whatever you want. So
I can't wait for you to get home.
I know.
I really.
Listen, I'm
gonna sweep the floor tomorrow. By the way,
what?
It's been 8 days. I'm gonna sweep the floor tomorrow. It's only been 8 days, and I'm only kicking a few things under the table for now. But when you come, I promise you, I will sweep the floor and empty the garbage.
Bravissimo. Everyone keeps saying about the cannoli. Of course, the cannoli, you have to have the
Yeah,
cannoli. But wait a second, before we go anywhere, you can't just have
yeah,
cannoli. You've got to have the ricotta cannoli because now they have places, they have the pistachio ones, the crema, the cioccolato.
yeah.
You gotta, you just have to do the ricotta, 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 ricotta. Michael
Okay.
says, Al, you're killing me with the Duncans. Sherry,
Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. I have to answer Mike. Okay, Mike. Here's what the secret is for Dunkin' coffee. Because I use an espresso maker. Okay, you take 2 small tablespoons or teaspoons rather of Dunkin's and 2 teaspoons of espresso. My formula is 50-50, and it's 612 times better than Dunkin'. And especially in the summertime when I put ice in it for iced coffee, it's just unbelievable. So I kind of mix them both, and I get the whole beans and I blend them. I have that little machine that goes like this. So
let me just
there's
say something.
Dunkin'.
Let me just say something. Nick said fiasconado panettone, which of course we did an entire episode where we went to
That's
their
flat out the best
laboratory,
panettone in Sicily.
the best panettone. For those of you guys who
There's
don't
nothing
know,
better than that one.
we have a shop, we have a YouTube shop. So right underneath, if you're watching us on YouTube, you can buy t-shirts and aprons and tote bags and hats and all that.
Hats like mine.
And exactly. And I just recently started an Amazon shop, which we make a very little percentage of it. It does not affect your cost, but I put together a few items that we think are available in the United States and Canada and so forth, and other countries that are quality Sicilian products. And the Fiasconado Panettone is on that list. And the real purpose of that is people always ask us, oh, where can I buy that panettone? Especially when I did that panettone episode. A lot of people were saying, can I get that in the States? Can I get that in the States? Also, the olive oil. Which olive oil do we think? I put the Partana olive oil in there. It's a place where you can go and see. It's called the You Me in Sicily Amazon shop, where you can see some of the things we collected. Alfred's books are also in there. So it's just another place where you can see some of our preferences on what items, Sicilian items, to purchase in the United States. So thank you for bringing that up.
Could I make one cautionary
Yes, honey.
thing? Yesterday, I was in the mood to make a panino, a good sandwich. And so I went to Conad's and I bought some capicola, the hot ham. Except I must have picked the wrong one because evidently there's one that's traditional cooked like the way I used to have it my whole life, and there's another one that's completely raw, R-A-W, raw. So I made my sandwich. I was, drooling to take that first bite, and it was raw meat. So I don't know. Does anybody know how to cook raw cabagolo? There's got to be someone out there that knows what to do. Or do I just put it in a pan and put some butter in it or oil?
That's a good
Because
question.
Esther will kill me because I have like a quarter of a pound here and she'll make me eat it.
Are you kidding me? Are you
Come
kidding me?
on, Esther.
Kidding
You
me?
know, I have one
No,
zucchini
wait.
here that
You
she
know,
left.
are you
I have
kidding me?
one zucchini left,
I thought you made
and
a
she
soup.
said to me, her last things
Wait a
were,
second. I thought you made a soup.
I love you, honey. Don't forget to eat that zucchini. And it's still here.
And what about the carrots and the celery? I cut the celery up for you and cleaned it.
See, I know. No, I didn't eat them
Sherry
yet.
says
No, I
everything
ate
is
some of it for the soup.
everything is so true on your show today. We lived it for a month. I ate like a king when I lived in Florence, and somehow I lost 20 pounds. I know, and I know a lot of people are the same way. Castelbuono is where I did that episode. If you go to our YouTube channel, it is right there. I agree 100% with you. All right. On that note, you guys, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Wasn't this fun? I miss going live. Maybe we'll try it when we get finally our internet connection back. Well, not internet. We get our fast.
The fast one. We don't have
The
it yet.
fast
After a
one.
year.
We'll
After a year.
go live
Sicily.
again from Sicily. But here's my promise to you. When we can, we're going to go live. Until then, thank you, thank you, thank you for being here. Honey, I'll see you soon.
I know, honey. Sapere riga a tutti, and thank you for your support. We really appreciate it. Grazie.
Arrivederci.
Buona domenica. Ciao,
Buona
ciao.
domenica. A dopo. Ciao.
Bye bye.